So I attended 3 different interpreting situations this semester. I attended a theatrical, educational, and a religious setting. So the first one I want to talk about is the theatrical setting. I went to the Michigan Renaissance Festival, and the interpreters that I observed were Peggy Osterdam, and she is NIC certified, and then Stacy Hatchie, who is also NIC certified, Shauna Tinney, also NIC certified, and lastly Sheila Riggs, who has a QA3. So Shauna interpreted a skit, and it was called Manolete. And for this performance, the actor said a lot of jokes, and he would spin a torch in the middle of the stage. And Shauna had to interpret very fast because the actor talked very fast. But she stayed in character. And the next performance, Stacy interpreted. And for this performance, there was a lot of role shifting because there were 3 actors. And a lot of times the actors would talk at the same time, so which actually made it easier for the interpreter. When they did talk at the same time, she would sign slow and large to emphasize that all 3 were speaking. The next performance, Peggy and Stacy interpreted, and this was a PG-13 act. There were actually a lot of children in the audience, and so Shauna had to really pick what she was going to interpret as far as a children's audience and match them. And the last performance was the Dead Bob Show, which is a funny show, and there's a lot of singing which involves the audience. And so Sheila decided to sign larger and slower when the audience sang along. Overall, I really enjoyed the theatrical setting. I thought it was interesting to see the interpreters dress up like the actors, and it was really interesting. So the next setting that I observed was educational, and it was at Lasser High School. And some of the interpreters included Erin Seipke Brown, who has a vast majority of qualifications. The next was Jackie Felix, and then Stephanie Harris and Susan Harris. So Susan and Jackie both interpreted the Earth Science class, and the teacher actually showed a rap song about metamorphic rocks that the interpreter had to interpret. In chemistry class, Erin Brown interpreted, and she used a lot of classifiers to describe the molecules and atoms, which was very interesting. And then after the teacher lectured, the students were given a test and then a worksheet after that test. And Erin was helping the students to understand the questions during the test, as well as the lecture. Lastly, in astronomy class, Stephanie and Jackie both interpreted that. They showed a video clip in that class, and Jackie used a lot of classifiers to describe the Milky Way, which was interesting. One part that I thought was really kind of neat, when they were describing the different kinds of rocks, such as igneous and metamorphic, the interpreter would kind of initialize that sign and tap it like the kind of rock that it was. The last setting that I observed was religious, and I went to Chapel Hill Baptist Church, and I watched Jackie Thompson, who is NIC certified. And some of the things that she interpreted were the reading of the scripture, the prayer, the welcoming and closing. A lot of songs were performed by deaf and hearing people. And then there was a skit called 10 Virgins, which was completely voiced by one interpreter. The skit that was interpreted matched all the performers very, very well. And I think, personally, that skit could have used at least 2 or 3 more interpreters instead of one. Because the conversation between the performers and the interpreter, sometimes it was very fast-paced, and it was hard to catch up with each performer. So it was really astounding to see how they interpreted these songs, the performance, and the skit. Overall, I really, really enjoyed the 3 observations that I attended, and I hope to see more in the future. Are there any questions? Yes, Dolores.
Which of 3 observations you prefer?
I really enjoyed the theatrical setting. I love going to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. I think it's just a really fun time, and especially to see interpreters out of that role that we always see them in, teaching or education or medical setting. Just to see them in costume is so cool, and you learn a lot of different vocab, things that maybe you shouldn't know. But that was my favorite setting. Anything else? Yes.
Sorry. Which of the kind of interpreting you will I missed something? Which kind of interpreting you plan on doing?
Is that which kind of interpreting do I plan to do in the future? Yes. I plan to hopefully. I don't know. I'd like a variety. I don't want to stick to just education or just medical. I don't think my skills are ready for either of those 2 right now, so maybe I'll start with religious settings and pick up some vocab, and then when I feel ready, I'll try education. Yes?
When do you plan on taking the NIC? BEI.
The BEI. When I feel comfortable years from now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm hoping as soon as I graduate, I'll take the written portion, and that will limit the amount of time that I have. So I'm hoping that deadline will push me to really focus on interpreting and get that PEI, because I want it. Any other questions?